Alright guys, it's time to talk about Mod 17. Something that I've been wanting to talk about for a very long time, but, I couldn't. This video is going to be a general overview of the main things that are being changed or added in Mod 17, and I may or may not have more specific, in-depth videos on each thing as time goes on. The first thing, as you may or may not have seen just by looking at the thumbnail of this video, is that there is a new race that you can play as called the gith. Which gith have a pretty important role in the storyline of Mod 17 as well, which I will get into, later. But I first want to talk about the race that we have available. As far as I know, it is a free race because it's shown in this section, and these ones are not. It's not shown as locked like the ones that are paid here, so I would assume, obviously this can change in the future or may be entirely wrong, but as of right now, it is in the free race section. Now, that being said, these are the racial abilities that you get, plus 2 dexterity and either 2 strength or 2 intelligence, and 2% increased stamina regeneration, and 1500 combat advantage. So, the bonuses aren't the best, but they're not terrible either. So this is one of those things where you pick it because you like it kind of deal. Anyway, there are both male and female variants of the gith. Somebody was asking about that, I saw in my alliance earlier. There are both. But my personal favorite part about this whole thing is, we're just gonna skip to the appearance part, right? I can be Shrek, okay? Obviously this looks like Shrek's great-great-great-grandfather or something, but like, I can be Shrek, okay? You guys know how awesome that is? Also, I want to point out that the gith have a lot of new hairstyles and different features that they can add on themselves whenever you're building them for the first time. It's more noticeable on the female variant, the different hairstyles and stuff, but like as you can see the facial hair, this is not something that we have on any other race. Now a facial hair right here. So yeah, we have a whole bunch of options for facial hair. Some of these, actually I don't know if any of these are available for the other races, if we're being honest. Look, I can have fangs. I'm a mammoth Shrek. Perfect. Things you can also change are different piercings that you can choose to have on your gith. Anyway, yeah, so that's a new race. Moving on, because I know you all want to know about everything else anyways. Next up on our tour of Mod 17, we come back to Protector's Enclave, and as you might notice, it looks a little bit different. And this is because it received a makeover of sorts. Basically, some renovators entered the place, and you were like, dude, this place looks awful, we gotta make it look prettier, and then they did that, okay? So basically, the most notable thing is the floor. I always call the ground the floor in games, I don't really know why. Anyway, it's a lot more red and the stones are a lot more noticeable and concise, and as you go up here you see the stones are just beautiful brick, okay? We're talking about stones here. This is quality content, talking about different rocks. Anyway, as you might have caught a glimpse a few seconds ago, Protector's Enclave is also rearranged a little bit. So Sergeant Knox is now over here where the event stadium podium thing used to be, and the events are now over here where the mounts used to be. Obviously there's nothing here right now because there's not any events going on, but during the Lyra fireworks event, the vendor was here. Looks pretty empty right now. I wonder what they're going to do to fill this space whenever there's no events going on. And then lastly, the mounts area that used to be over there is now over here, and you can see the new legendary mount showcased here. I don't have one to actually ride around and show you guys at the moment, but it is the legendary giant toad. So it's a big frog, and I would assume it hops along, which honestly would be really awesome to see. And to go along with the mount explanation here, we have not one, but 2 new lockboxes that are going to be available. There's Hallister's lockbox and the Stardock lockbox, and the Stardock one is kind of similar to the Glorious Resurgence and the excavated one that we've been having lately. Hallister's is the one that has the giant toad, the Crystal Golem companion, which I'll actually buy one of each of these so that I can show you guys what's in these boxes. Because I know there's some of you, it's late, I'm sorry, that actually care. Anyway, we've got the legendary giant toad that has 10,000 combat advantage on it. The giant toad legendary mount power thing eats minions and then deals damage. He basically licks them and they get so grossed out that they die. That's my explanation. Anyway, 10,000 combat advantage or 5,000 combat advantage in the epic version. The Crystal Golem gives hit points and power, which is honestly really good. Hit points and power is something that I would look for on my Paladin specifically because, you know, power for healing, hit points for tanking, and there's also rank 10 runestones that you can get from this. Also, the rank 7 marks of potency you're in here, it has Vorpal and Bark Shield, very good options, and then all the other general, you know, lame stuff. And then the other lockbox, Stardock lockbox, we've got the legendary mount pack that has Tensor's Disc, Armored Bulette, and the Armored Griffin in it. The epic mount pack, Tensor's Floating Disc, Bulette, Griffin, you know. And the companion pack has the word that I can never pronounce, that I've always just go with Aranese, Frozen Galebeater, and Mystic Fira. And then you got epic, all this jazz. Teal Diamond's in here, 100,000 refinement points, people. Violet Diamond also. And then, you know, Life Drinker, Elven Battle, blah blah, all that jazz. Okay. Also, Stronghold decorations and legendary insignias too. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, I apologize that this video is going to be very long, but I have a lot to talk about, a lot more than has been shown in the announcement and stuff like that. I have been messing around with Mod 17 for about a month, I want to say, mainly with the new trial, and that's the next thing that I'm going to talk about. There is a new epic trial that I don't think is available, or maybe it is. Anyway, there's a new trial called Tower of the Mad Mage that has a required item level of 24,000. Now this seems excessively high, but to go along with that there is a lot of new gear with higher item level, and this trial is actually made for really good players, and so of course the item level is going to be higher. The trial is extremely difficult, requires a lot of cooperation and coordination and communication. Wow, I like the way I said that. It's really hard, okay? And the enemy ratings in there are 30,000, which is 12,000 higher than in Lair of the Mad Mage. And that means that your stat caps are going to go up by 12,000 each, meaning that things like armor penetration, defense, deflect are all going to be capped at 80k now instead of 68, and I've now been disconnected from the server, so pardon me while we take a quick pause on the video. Okay, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, the trial is difficult, so if you're one of those people who don't believe in working on your defensive stats or whatever, I very, very, very highly recommend that you at least cap defense, if not critical avoidance. I say this from experience. In this trial, if somebody dies, the chances of the group failing entirely have just gotten much larger. There are a ton of mechanics in the trial. I'm talking like around 20 different things that you have to know how they work and work fluidly with your group so that you don't die. It's all about not dying, because if you die, you get resurrection sickness, and that lowers your damage significantly, which means that you won't be able to progress in the trial and then ultimately fail, assuming you all don't die to begin with. Anyway, that was a rant on the trial that you just got while staring at my queue screen, because, you know, I can't get into the trial by myself. I will have a video at some point explaining every single mechanic of the trial. I've done it like 30 times, but I have not completed it since its latest update, which was a few days ago, I think, where the third phase was changed significantly, and so I can't say for certain how anything works anymore, but I can explain all the mechanics, what to look for, how to know that they're coming, and how to react to them based on what I have seen, so that you guys can get a feel for it before going in, which I also highly recommend because, like I said, it's difficult. Okay, as I alluded to earlier, we were going to talk about the new gear, and the new companion gear. Yes, that's right, there is new companion gear too. But first, let's take a pit stop on this rings page, and there's also shirts and pants on here, but look how many rings are available now. That's at least 2. That's a lot of rings, and not only that, they're item level 1010, have a lot more stats on them, and there are also some that increase your percent damage, like this one. Your encounter powers do 3% more damage. Your at-will and encounter powers do 3% more damage, but your daily powers do 30% less. And then we have melee powers do 3% more damage, 10% damage against undead, and this one has 20,000 armor penetration on it. I just thought I would point that out, because that's a lot of armor penetration. Okay. This ring also is similar to the Manticore main, which was like a huge issue in PvP a long time ago. But basically, when you use it daily, the next enemy that hits you takes damage equal to 50% of your max health, but it's only 10% in PvP, so they already saw that coming and took care of that. Anyway, at-will powers do 3% more damage, and ranged powers do 3% more damage. So there's that. That's the rings section. And now let's hop over to companion gear. Look at all that companion gear. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited for that. This is one that 12,000 combat advantage on this piece of companion gear. 12,000 crit. A lot of them are 12,000, 12,000, but there's also some that split half and half, and all this companion gear is worth 1,010 points, and as you can see, it all comes from the expeditions. So it should be obtainable before you head into the new trial. Now, as far as actual gear pieces go, I don't think the new gear is in the, whatchamacallit, collections tab yet, and I don't believe that it is in the... Yeah, it's still Mod 16 stuff in here, so I can't actually show you... I'm gonna buy this Bane and the Mad Mage real quick. I cannot actually show you any new gear pieces that, like, for the rest of your body, but I am 90% certain that they exist, at least. And oh, by the way, there's new PvP gear as well, which I feel like I should take a moment to touch on, since, you know, there's a new PvP map, which will be the next thing that I talk about. So from what I'm seeing here, there are 3 different sets of gear available: Arbiter, Imperator, and Star Rover. Star Rover appears to be the best and the most complete of the 3, and they all have different set bonuses. Like, for example, when your enemy's health is greater than 75%, your power is increased by 2,856, which I'm assuming is based on a percentage of your own personal power, or is just bugged like all the rest of this seems to be. Because as you can see, it's item level 40 in this set, only has 40 combat advantage and stuff on it, so it seems like it's not showing up properly. Same thing with the Arbiter PvP gear. Oh, actually, this one seems to be showing up right. When damaging a target with a shield or temp HP, you gain temp HP equal to 20% of the damage inflicted, only in PvP. You know, that actually sounds pretty cool. There's also rings too, by the way. So basically, come on preview, check out the new PvP gear, and all that jazz. Okay, thanks. Now next I would like to show you guys the PvP map. Alright, so I ended up not being able to show off the map today. The original plan was to, one of the devs was going to summon me into the map so that I could show it off. However, they ran into some issues with the build, so preview ended up going up later than normal. They're pretty busy right now, it's late, so I'm not going to bother them anymore, and so that's why there's no map in this video, but I will show it off in a future one, I promise. Now, another one of the major things that were changed in Mod 17 is the fashion system, which now has its own tab called the Appearance tab, and this basically streamlines transmutation and dyeing and stuff all in one nice thing, and it's honestly one of my favorite changes of Mod 17, and I'll show you why. Because you now no longer have to actually transmute your gear. There's no such thing as transmuting anymore. You simply have something called overlays, where it overrides your actual gear with an appearance item. So as you can see now, I'm showing this like Gurdun's defense or something like that, but if I want to change my appearance item, which you can right click on an item, convert to appearance library item, it'll disappear from your inventory, but it'll stay in your appearance library, and then you can change it to another piece of gear, and look, it's my old gear. However, if you had any dyes on it, it will go away. It costs Astral Diamonds to save and wear it, and then you can also click on these things, primary, secondary, and accent color dyes. And guess what, guys? There's yellow dye now. This is a huge breakthrough in the land of Neverwinter. We have yellow dye, and all these other colors too. Like, I'm talking like a lot of colors. So basically, in order to access the dyes, you need to have a dye pack and then convert it in when it's in your inventory. I don't know if I have any dye packs on me right now. These basic colors only cost 10 silver to apply, and then everything else is, you know, whatever you have in your inventory, probably also 10 silver each. But that's how you dye stuff. Oh, by the way, you can dye your weapons, and I guess you can't really see. I guess you can. You can dye your weapons, main hand, offhand, and I'll just do white, red, yellow. Okay. Same thing for fashion. You no longer have fashion items, there's fashion appearance items. So you have these here, and then you can dye them or whatever. And I'm not going to do that because I like the colors of mine, which I don't think it's even dyed, if we're being honest. But so there's that. And unfortunately, there is no quick swap here anymore. You have to click an additional button in order to swap whatever you're wearing, which sucks. I really wish there was a toggle button still here so that you can quickly swap between gear and fashion. But currently it's not a thing. I suggested it. I hope it gets added because I'm a little bit salty that I have to click an extra button. That's like a real first world problem. But next up on our list is the notification system. If you hit escape, there's now a new notification settings button which lets you choose whether or not you want stuff to show up in the chat or in the fly-in, which is text that shows up here or down here or whatever. And in this is something called gameplay announcements. And these are the major announcements that happen. I'm not sure if this includes lockbox openings. But if it does, I'm sure so many people will be happy because, you know, people don't like looking at the lockbox spam. Anyway, I'm not 100% sure on that, so please don't quote me on that. It's not something that I can actually see right now because nobody's opening lockboxes, but you get the point. As you can see, somebody just opened a lockbox up there. It showed up as a pop-up at the very top of the screen. Did not show in chat at all. So for those of you who just hate the chat spam of it, it's now gone. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go play through the intro to the Uprising storyline again because I haven't done that on this server yet. So, timeout. So, as I was saying, the new area for the Mod 17 questline takes place in Stardock, which is a space area that has flying space dragons, and also currently has a decent amount of collision cubes, green and red ones, which probably will not be there at launch, but I still find them quite amusing. But anyway, the view from here is pretty cool looking. It kind of makes you feel like you're on a spaceship, which I'm assuming is the intention. And then you have this person who never stops doing jumping jacks, ever. 24/7, 365, however many days are in a century, this person will be doing jumping jacks. And you talk to them and they look like they're literally insane. So, I mean, I guess that's what happens when you go insane. You just keep doing jumping jacks forever. Alright. Let's also, to go along with the gear thing that I was talking about earlier, there are new weapons called the Lionheart weapons. And these are the exact same weapon damage. To get these weapons, you trade in Lost Scrolls of the Void. Each one costs 10. Now, I don't know how these are obtained at the moment, but the set bonus on these increases your armor penetration and defense by 5%, and whenever you and your allies are outnumbered, your critical avoidance, deflection, and awareness are increased by 2.5%, and whenever you and your allies outnumber your enemies, your critical strike, accuracy, and combat advantage are increased by 2.5%. So basically, whenever the enemies outnumber you when you're in danger, your defensive stats increase, and whenever you outnumber the enemies, so you have the upper hand, your offensive stats increase to make it go more quicker. The Paladin transmute in particular, I keep calling them transmutes, I'll probably always call them that, is a giant hammer still. And the shield looks kind of familiar, similar to the other sets. I don't know if that will change. But honestly, time out for a second. Look how giant this sword is. This one is the Barbarian, of course. But that looks like a giant kitchen knife, okay? And if you don't want to use a giant kitchen knife, then you have something wrong with you. And if you're a rogue, you have miniature small kitchen knives that you can carry around. So, like, what's not to love about these? The fighter gets this ginormous glaive. Like, look at that. That's huge. And then the cleric has a tiny symbol. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, that's what the new weapons look like. There's another vendor over here that sells potions and a couple of masks, the Batiri mask and the Witch Doctor Batiri mask. I don't know if these are permanent, but this one looks kind of nice. It has big horns. And then these potions, you get these with githyanki trinkets, which are things that you get from quests or picking up, I believe. Whenever you're just doing the introductory expedition to get here, you pick up what are called illicit trophies, which are apparently highly valued in Stardock, but I don't know exactly what you trade them in for yet. So anyway, basically the storyline of Mod 17 is Kavados is like, yo, there's some stuff going on, we need to do something about it. So basically, it's just like a war against the Illithids, pretty much. The Gith versus the Illithids. And you can see on the map here, it's called a conflict map, and this is the old Undermountain map, and then you can see the Uprising map, basically areas that have uprisings that you need to, you know, kill stuff and calm down over there. And Mod 17 does reuse a lot of the older maps, which is something that they said they were going to do because, as we all know, the Mod 16 maps in Undermountain they spent a lot of time on, and they're very pretty looking, so I kind of figured that they were going to be reused. So you're going to see a lot of Thune Hulks and like Underdark-y mobs in here, which I kind of like because it's been a while since I've seen them really. And anyway, you're going around looking for intelligence. Basically, you're trying to figure out what they're doing. So that's these boxes here. Hey, the Gith appeared. And we're also killing them. Now that's something I'm confused about. Oh, these are the Marauders. You know, you can tell... Oh, there's the Githyanki trinkets I was talking about. They do drop from enemies. Anyway, you can tell I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to lore, and I don't know why I even tried to explain it, because I have no clue. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I'm not knowledgeable at all about it. I don't know why we're killing both of them. Excuse me. That's better. Alright, while we're here, there's one more thing that I want to talk about, and that is this quest here, the Teachings of Zerthamon, this guy. This quest is required to complete in order to unlock the trial, and also you have to have completed the Lair of the Mad Mage dungeon in order to access the trial as well. So, 2 prerequisites. That being said, the reward for this quest is a family jewelry box, which has your choice of like 10 different companion gear pieces, and you can pick one. So this is like the main quest that you're going to want to be focusing on for the Uprising thing, and you're going to be collecting stuff and to do Warden expeditions and then recover the fragments in the fragment expeditions. So it's like a whole bunch of expeditions. I personally have not completed this at all. I have not gone any further in the quest line than I am, which is to do a couple of the Uprising intelligence gathering missions. Now, the original plan was to show you guys the new tutorial that was next up on my list. I copied a new fresh character over in order to show you guys the updated tutorial, but as you can see, I am currently on the skybox in the middle of nowhere. The tutorial is up there on the side of that cliff, but obviously the map is completely different than the old tutorial map, so when I spawned in outside of this map, and I am stuck here because I have no abilities, and I'm just sort of chilling. I mean, it's kind of fun out here. The only thing I haven't tried is dying. Can you even die in... I don't know. You can.
You have suffered a minor injury.
Oh, would you look at that, I am smart. So here's the new tutorial. I know you all wanted to know this. They updated the tutorial and other early game chapters to make them more noob-friendly, basically more engaging introductory experience is the words that they used. But everything is supposed to be updated in this tutorial. The map is similar, but it's also different. So as you can see, you don't spawn on the beach anymore. You spawn up here, you collect your gear right away, and then I can put it on. Oh yeah, I got a weapon now.
Press I to open your inventory.
Yeah, I already equipped it. Let me in. Equip your gear. But I did that already. I did! Alright, I think I really broke it, because I obviously equipped my gear already, and still telling me to equip my gear. Cool! So, I figured out how to get myself off the skybox, but now I am... Can I go back down? I kind of want to go back down there. I don't know, I don't think I can, though. There's invisible walls, and I have no abilities or anything. Alright. Well, anyway, I was going to show you guys the tutorial, so I guess, I could just walk around, I suppose. It's not... I am armed! Let me in! Alright, these people... This guard must be blind. Does he not see that I'm carrying a weapon? It's floating by my head, you idiot. Alright. Well, the plan was to show you guys the new tutorial in the early quest zones, but that's unfortunately not possible at the moment. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching or listening or whatever. I hope this was a little bit informative just to show you an overall idea of what Mod 17 is going to be like. And I will have other videos later on to go more in depth into stuff and also talk about the trial mechanics in particular and the changes I made to my Paladin in Mod 17 as well. So I'll have that at some point. So I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye.